Since 2017, Rainworld has come across nothing but critical acclaim. I am CouchCube, and back in 2019, I stuffed it into a 5 more list. By the way, have a good look. There's some real gems in there, this being one of them. That series, I sort of went everywhere and grabbed what I could, so check it out because you might find some sort of red herring local co-op games. This is certainly one of them, and this is now come onto the PlayStation 5 for no cost whatsoever. Very good news. What is this critical acclaim you talk of? Well, the game is incredibly deep with its environment and world building. Slugcat isn't the most dramatically animated sprite on Earth, but the world that he exists in, or it exists in, is phenomenally detailed and deep, and the people that made it put loads of brilliant motion and excellent design behind all of the enemies and technically the levels and what you've got to do in the game. We will talk more on that at the end, and I'll supply some links because do not underestimate how jaw-dropping the back end of this game is when it comes to what can be discovered. This video is not going to show you all of that. It is going to show you some of the graphics though. Last time I clapped eyes on this was on the PlayStation 4 Pro. I see no difference. This is not like the lighting's had a rework situation. The update was free. It's pretty cool. Okay, here's a list of other games that this game reminds me of, or sections of. I will go first up with Dizzy on the older system. Do you remember the sort of fetch questy, go through screens, avoid difficult enemies adventure game? I'd also marry it up with something called Carrion. Carrion is quite a modern sort of 16-bit. You play as an alien, but you're drifting around and listening and setting up all kinds of traps and causing people to fight other people and watch it all kick off. There's a lot of that in this. Flashback also, I get a bit of with the platforming. And of course I'm going to go with Monster Hunter World, can you believe? Some of these creatures fighting and the animations on them is like nothing you've ever seen in an indie game, and that's what a lot of the critics are so gobsmacked at, is how much love went into the world and what lives within the ecosystem. The controls, as you can imagine, are bare minimum, with literally platforming, jumping. There's a build jump, which is very weird. You have a crouch, and you can also utilize these little entrances and exits. You'll see them flash different colors. This means that one of these damn lizards is coming through. And look at the way they sort of toss and turn. They wrestle with each other. They're also territorial, and they don't like other sets of species within the same screen. It's a hell of a thing to watch, and I'm always just letting it all drift past me. You've got to get food, essentially. 4 bits of food, or up to 8, to allow time for you to hibernate. And you have to go back to said screen to sleep for the days to pass, to progress in the whole system. It's quite strange. There's also a timed effect with the floods and the water, hence the name. Things get very difficult and busy if you're taking too long to get back to that hibernation spot. Look at the animation on this mosquito thing. It's almost that good that it fools the eye into thinking it's an organic, living thing. That must have taken a while, and it's a great addition to what could be just a quite confusing, colourful platformer. Those purple ones can jump, so you're never safe from those. And also, it's not like you've got a semi-automatic machine gun. You literally have a stick or a stone. And I haven't yet downed one of those things, but you can use it to repel them. Now, let's look at the local co-op, because there's a few things I have issues with. It doesn't give you that campaign. That was a huge heartbreaker when I first fired this up in 2019. I was gutted. I was like, what is this arena crap? But there is so much to be experimented with. More importantly, there's a sandbox mode. Notice as well we have slots for 4 players, and we can add what we've discovered within game up to where we are, which is really cool because it makes you push on that campaign and think, I've got more variables to add now to when I play this with a friend, but they do need to understand the game's mechanics and how it works. This is not Super Mario 1 where you're just in a little arena trying to jump on each other's heads. There's a shit ton going on all the time, even your position, what weapons to go to, and what you've chosen to spawn in. When you go to the competitive mode, you can actually lock in certain enemy types and just add really difficult things, have the rain come in all the time. That's when you see some crazy other stuff. Look at that cockroach at the bottom there. This game is freaky. So that's my advice with this one. Do not sleep on that single player content. Use it to make the the arena mode more interesting, and if you are going to indulge with someone else, make sure they fully understand what this game is and about. But the best time you're going to have is exploring that single player, discovering new monsters and just getting through that absolutely colossal map. And that is something that very much surprised me. As you can see, the game's very like anti-text and legible, easy to understand instructions. It's all quite cryptic, but the map itself is very easy to read, and it gives you a huge incentive to go to areas that you need to look for that you haven't explored, or go to those blue markers which show the food off, which are these little bats. One thing that will do your head in is these platforming rules, because if you're like me, you need to know where they start and stop. Can I wall jump? Can I double jump? Can I fall through those thin things? Can I grab them? Hold on a second, jump scare here. Those platforming parameters are sometimes quite easy to forget, and you'll fall through something thinking you were going to grab it, or you'll bounce off a surface thinking you were going to crawl up it. So it does take some getting used to, but it is fun when the penny drops, and you do get very familiar with what's required of you, and avoiding everything. You just cheese stuff, and it gets really angry and starts increasing. It's like search circle for you and getting agitated. I will say, the game is quiet as hell. You might have noticed that. The only clips I'm using is when something massively dramatic happens, because you might just get a few knocks from it. There's no like looped elevator music in the background, and I think that would take the edge off the game. When the rain starts and things get hectic and getting chased, stuff does amp up, but this sort of almost organic silence is also quite cool. It's the sort of game that appears to me to be not at all bothered about what you think about it. And when I first got into this, I was like, everything is in the wrong pace for me. Not place, but I just need to get things going quicker, and I didn't understand this subtlety. But if you know what to expect, and you want to really start exploring some crazy-ass, sewage-like universes, completely stuffed with the best organic looking AI programmed enemies you will have the fortune to come across in an indie game. I go on record as saying that. Rainworld is totally the place for you, and there's a beautiful co-op nugget thrown in there for good measure. PvP and a big sandbox mode. That can't be sniffed at. This scene's great. I've got a new enemy type, I think, over in the corner in the bottom left there. You can see him just in the tunnels. He's like a spider slash beetle squid thing. And the other lizards are terrified of it, just like me. We're all just running around. The situations this organic behavior brings up are not scripted, and you don't find anywhere else. Also, when you die, and this is one of the darker things about the whole game, and you do get that sort of don't hug me I'm scared angle, but they take you away down to their little vault a la Aliens and He's Still Alive Ripley, that sort of thing. So cool. Rainworld is a recommended couch co-op title from me. It's not Sonic Team Racers, and you will get, a bit more depth with its cerebral content than your average indie game. I'm about to review Street Fighter 6. I think it's about time we went deep into local co-op fighters again. I have been the Couch Coop, and I will see you down there.